Why did the Jedi hoard the artifacts of their ancient enemies in the Sith instead of destroying them? Greetings, curious acolytes of the Force, and welcome back to the Archives. One of the most well-guarded areas in the entire Jedi Temple would be the library and the vaults that lay below it. On the temple on Coruscant, you have the Holocron Vault, which can be accessed by the Jedi Council, with some exceptions, and of course a Great Museum Vault that is completely forbidden for any Jedi, except select masters. This Forbidden Vault is home to many treasures of the dark side, Sith artifacts that were taken as spoils of war in eras past and plundered from the ancient Sith tombs of Korriban. It's pretty much common knowledge that the Jedi keep dark side artifacts. Even Padawans on a general basis know this, and the Sith know this too, which is of course infuriating to them. We learned that the Jedi have been hoarding dark side artifacts for thousands of years by the time and era of Darth Bane in the year 1002 BBY. Here, the Valley of the Dark Lords on Korriban has been completely strip mined for all of their trinkets and knowledge, leaving it a dead husk, a shadow of its former glories. It doesn't take someone with the wisdom of a master such as Yoda to figure out why the Jedi take Sith artifacts. But the more important question that we want to raise is, why do the Jedi keep them? By all accounts, Jedi should be seeking to destroy these cursed objects. Is there a sentimental or even a historical reason that the Jedi retain certain dark side knowledge and items? Or is there perhaps a conspiracy that runs deep in the core of the Jedi Order? There's only one way to find out, my friends, so let's take a dive right in. As you may well know, a Sith artifact or a dark side artifact is any object that either contains knowledge of the dark side or is enchanted with some kind of dark side power. Many Sith Lords in the past have used artifacts in order to grant themselves more power or some kind of advantage over their enemies. Artifacts can literally take the form of just about anything from books and scrolls to jewelry such as amulets or rings. And then there's the personal favorites of ancient Sith. The ancient Sith possessed swords and daggers and other weapons and pieces of armor. There have even been Sith artifacts that have literally replaced vital organs in order to give power, such as in the case of the Heart of Grosh. Of course, these artifacts very often had drawbacks to them, as nothing that evil would give away its power freely. Oftentimes, the cost of using a Sith artifact, or sometimes even being within its vicinity, can draw one to the dark side itself or into madness. Nothing good comes from these cursed objects, and oftentimes, Sith Lords of the Old would imprint their very spirits into their artifacts, effectively being able to possess anyone who wears or uses the object. Usually when one destroys these objects though, it will also destroy any powers or spirits that are attached to it, which by all reason the Jedi should be doing, but again, they do not. It's understandable that some objects may be more complicated to destroy than others, but shouldn't there at least be an effort to destroy them? The Jedi Order, especially the time of the Republic class era and the Clone Wars, have a notorious reputation for being incredibly strict with the study that the Jedi are allowed to pursue. They believe that even the mere exposure to certain dark side energies is enough to corrupt one of their own, which of course we have proven many times before. However, this is an ignorant notion which frequently backfires against the Jedi. However, they still insist on keeping these artifacts locked away. There could be a couple of reasons for this that we can list right off of the bat. First one we might point out is what we mentioned earlier, which was that some Sith artifacts are just too powerful to be outright destroyed by any one Jedi. But this doesn't exactly hold water either, as we know that there have been times where several Jedi group together and combine their powers in order to destroy an artifact. Where there's a will, there's a way, and the Jedi know this full well, as the Jedi could eventually find an avenue that they could use until the object was destroyed if they really wanted to. But secondly, if these objects really could not be destroyed, then this vault would perhaps be a good idea so that they could lock away Sith artifacts from affecting the rest of the galaxy. This way, no one would find them and give rise to another Sith order. We can look to the man known as Warb Null for the reason behind this. Warb Null was a meal worker on Onderon who ended up getting tricked by a Sith spirit into putting on some cursed armor. He was immediately swept into the dark side and became a Dark Jedi commander of Freedon Nad's military forces, just by a dark side artifact. The problem with locking it away though, is that you'd think they'd make this vault somewhere away from the Jedi Temple, a fatal flaw. The reason we say this is because one of the most famous Sith Lords came directly from the Jedi Order as a result of a dark side artifact's corruption. This was none other than Exar Kun. He had indeed been a Jedi in the Order until he began to become fascinated with Sith teachings, and against his master's warnings, delved into some of the Sith knowledge that was held at his temple, thinking that he was ready and powerful enough to withdraw himself from the dark side when it called his name. This resulted in the rise of one of the most dangerous Sith Lords that have ever lived, a Sith Lord who destroyed the Jedi's great library on Ossus and killed the Supreme Chancellor, nearly ending the Galactic Republic as he preached Sith doctrine to a crowd of mind-controlled senators, all because of a dark side artifact, or at least that was its catalyst. Many Sith Lords already came from the Jedi Order as it was, which is why the Council was so constricting on how the Jedi were to conduct themselves, and in what measure they were able to be familiarized with the dark side. Despite this though, if a Jedi desired to know these things, they're going to find a way whether the rules permit it or not. One of the most popular tales was the Jedi Padawan Nikos Tyrus, who snuck into the forbidden section of the Jedi Temple and read a Sith manuscript, with this ultimately birthing the Order of the Jin Sarai. However, there has been reason given to us recently in the official lore as to why the Jedi keep this, and the canon answer is quite interesting. The lore goes on to state that they keep these things around for the purpose of study, but why exactly would they need to study this? Here is our theory. I believe that the Jedi study these Sith artifacts in order to better be able to track down more of them. In our holocrons about the Jedi Sentinels, we spoke of the Jedi Shadows, a secretive and mysterious branch of Jedi Sentinels which lurk about in the darkest depths of the galaxy, acting basically as assassins for the Jedi Order. Their official missions are to hunt down and destroy any traces of the dark side left in the galaxy. This doesn't just mean people though, obviously, it means objects. The Sentinels are specifically trained to sense and track down dark side energies, and they answer directly to the Council of First Knowledge. And what's even more interesting is the Council of First Knowledge is the council that oversees the Great Archives. Besides the High Council, the Council of First Knowledge are the only ones permitted to enter the forbidden section of the Jedi Archives and study these artifacts hands-on, which basically means that keeping these artifacts around is a necessary evil in order to properly understand how the objects are made, how they work, and what goes through the minds of those that create them. Taking a look at it through this lens gives us a peek into an entirely different world of the Jedi. Among these Sith artifacts, you're going to find holocrons, and through study and careful navigation by an experienced Jedi, they're going to be able to garner a few key secrets from these Sith holocrons that the Sith do not want the Jedi to have, and that may prove to be vital information from where more stashes may be kept. There is also the chance that these holocrons could lead the Jedi into discovering any leftover cults or followers of the Sith that remain. Of course, they wouldn't be able to find the Rule of Two because that is only logged in the holocron of Darth Bane, which the Sith have in their possession and the Jedi have never seen. Honestly, I like this explanation a lot because it gives plausible context for why the Jedi would bother to keep around dangerous objects of the Sith. Not to mention, it would make for a very cool storyline. Imagine we get to see a show or a comic revolving entirely around a group of Jedi Shadows that are dispatched into the Black Ops missions around the Republic and galaxy, headed by Jocasta Nu as their mission operator. These Jedi Shadows show their skills off in subterfuge, and we get to see a very questionable side of the Jedi as these Sentinels cut moral corners in order to seek out and destroy all traces of the dark side, the whole time that they have to fight the darkness around them, as well as within themselves. Perhaps we get to see the dangers of being a Jedi Shadow as one of their comrades gets corrupted by an artifact, and the rest are forced to kill him. We get to see how they slowly slip into paranoia as they begin to sense the dark side everywhere, and soon they might all go rogue right before Order 66 starts, as they sense the impending doom coming for the Republic. In that storyline, we could discover all kinds of secrets about the Sith, and see exactly to what lengths the Jedi will go through in order to secure their idea of peace. Well, my friends, what do you think of this idea? Is that a show that you would like to watch? Let us know in the comments down below, and let us know why you think the Jedi keep these Sith artifacts. And until next time, my friends, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.